A veteran LAPD officer is blasting basketball superstar LeBron James for his now deleted tweet responding to the fatal shooting of 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant. Officer Deon Joseph took to Facebook this past Sunday, calling LeBron's tweet irresponsible and disturbing, saying in part, "It showed a complete lack of understanding of the challenge of our job in the heat of a moment. You basically put a target on the back of a human being who had to make a split-second decision to save a life from a deadly attack."
Law enforcement consultant and active police officer with the LAPD, Deon Joseph, joins us now to talk more about his response to LeBron James and what he hopes to accomplish. Good morning. We appreciate you being with us.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're doing well, thank you. We want to talk about this now deleted tweet from LeBron James. And you, along with many others, found offensive. For people who didn't see the tweet, it was a photo of the officer who's been identified as the one who shot and killed Ma'Khia Bryant while responding to that 911 call with the words, "You're next," #accountability. Officer Joseph, can you explain why you felt the need to respond to that now deleted tweet from LeBron?
Well, there are many reasons, but one of the main reasons is when I saw that shooting in Ohio, and then I saw the tweet, I thought to myself, that could have easily been me. I remember being in a situation like that, leaving work. I nearly shot somebody 4 times in my career, and I thank God that I never had to. That's what I pray for every morning. But anyway, I left the station, and I see people running down the street screaming that there was a young man with a gun. And it's dark, and the street lights are out. And then he chases a 70-year-old man down the street and puts it to the guy's head. And I was like this close to taking that young man's life. And of course, when it was all said and done, he didn't have one. But I can only imagine what the papers would have said to me or said about me if I would have had to make that horrible decision. And I didn't sleep for 2 days after that. So I just wanted him to know that in the heat of the moment, we're human, we're not perfect, but sometimes we have to do tough things to save people's lives. And I just thought that tweet basically just painted 800,000 of us with a really, really broad brush.
I don't know if you saw it, but your phone just came up and it said Deon's iPhone. Okay, it's been fixed.
We got you.
The open letter that you wrote to LeBron, what did you say in it?
Well, basically, I was just letting him know, trying to let him know that we're human, that I wanted to connect with him and have real dialogue with him, an honest discussion between two men, forget my title. I just wanted Deon and LeBron so we could humanize each other and maybe hopefully inspire communities and their police departments to begin talking to each other again. Because prior to this pandemic, my department, I can't mention it, we were doing some incredible things like trust talks. And but then the pandemic hit and it cut off those lines of communications with our communities. And our communities were left in their homes with their laptops, kind of being forced or having no choice but to watch collages of the negative exception of law enforcement. And that started to shape their views and cut off that communication that we needed. So I'm praying for those times to come back. I'm hoping that LeBron responds to me. But if he doesn't, look, I still love the guy. I think personally he's one of my heroes for how he reached out to children and gave back like no other athlete I've ever seen. He's a personal hero of mine. But I don't want anybody bashing him because I was LeBron before I became a police officer. I did not like cops at all. Like him, the only thing that was shown to me about cops was negative. I saw the Rodney King incident, Dalton Street. I was racially profiled a couple of times myself, so I haven't forgotten what it was to be African American in America. But the reality is the vast majority of police officers of all walks of life, they're decent human beings. And I do recognize there's a negative exception, but we can't paint all of them with a broad brush. We just can't.
How did you change that view? Was it by becoming an officer yourself to see that, or were there examples that you were shown that made you think differently?
Yeah, absolutely. It was becoming an officer. I stepped across the line and joined the police force, and I'll never forget my family members and people I love to this day said, "Ooh, once you join the police force, they're going to teach you to hate black people. They're going to teach you that black folks are the target." And none of that happened. As a matter of fact, we learned more about human relations in Spanish than how to keep our heads from being blown off our shoulders in the street, which is a whole other problem. But, they were very open to my views on race, and they really stressed that your one action could affect all of us if you go out there and you do something wrong. And then I became a police officer. I went out in the field and I worked with officers of all walks of life. And the interesting thing is I hear a lot of talk about how evil white officers are. And, you know, if you know me, I'm all about outreach and caring for people. I developed my patrol style from a white officer named Bill, who worked in one of the most violent areas in Venice Beach called Oakwood at the time. And I couldn't believe that this man who arrested so many people there, you know, was getting love from the community. And I was like, is this guy so racist and corrupt that people are afraid of him and that they say hi to him? I couldn't believe that. And then he pulls the car over and says, Dion, these people know we have a job to do. They know crime is high. But as long as you treat them with respect, whether you're arresting them or saying hi to them, they will respect you. Do you understand? And the only answer to that was yes, sir. And I patterned my career after a white officer who showed me that it's not the color of your skin, it's what's in your heart. And it's just unfortunate that people are being judged by the color of their skin and not the content of their character, or in cases of police shootings, the context of the incident.
Well, speaking of context, we often discuss here how difficult it must be for officers in the heat of the moment, having to make a split-second life or death decision. We can't possibly know what that's like. Can you tell us what it's like? And is it a training issue that results in people being shot? And talk to us about that.
I think it's more of a human issue. People want to paint or stereotype police officers as having no fear. Fear doesn't make you a coward, okay? The difference between the average person and a police officer is we're training to push past our fears or use our fear to push us forward to complete a goal to keep people safe or ourselves safe. But having fear doesn't make you a coward, but it just makes you human. Things like fear, apathy, love, brutality, bigotry, fairness. These are not police traits. They are human traits. And the negative of those traits can, in fact, impact any entity. You find racism in the medical field. You find it in the military. You find all these things in any profession. And unfortunately, it's kind of like a tag. Our profession is being used as the catalyst to solve, quote unquote, racism. It's unfortunate because it's just, once again, it's demonizing some really incredible people that I work with. And once again, to the general public, I'm not stupid or naive. Look, I've had to report misconduct and testify against officers, and I will gladly do it again, who stepped across that line and sullied our badge. I don't agree with what happened to Walter Scott. I think that was a murder. Laquan McDonald, I thought that was a murder. Oscar Grant. What happened to Derek Chauvin with George Floyd, I think was disgusting and repulsive. What's not fair is me having to pay for something that I didn't do, something that happened hundreds of miles away, when I care about my community, which is probably 80% Black, like nobody's business. And so do the officers that I work with. I mean, you have officers who've been working Skid Row. Think about Skid Row. It's not the most pleasant place to work. It's heartbreaking what we see, but you have some of those officers who've been there for 5, 10, 15 years. Why didn't they leave? Because they have a stake and they want to be a part of the change for that community. And unfortunately, we've kind of been excommunicated from all of that, and it's really sad what's happening.
Officer Joseph, we are out of time, but I want to ask you one last thing quickly, if you would. Tyler Perry made that speech at the Oscars. He said the only way we can heal is if we can meet in the middle. And when you talk about healing with communities and police, what do you see we can do? Where can we go from here?
We all need to put down our biases and hatred toward each other. We need to, instead of canceling decent people, canceling those who are driving division and chaos, you know, and we all need to meet in the center. In the center is where you'll find truth. Listen, folks, look, I think neutrality is for cowards, okay? I believe that 100%. If you don't stand on the issue, you can't stand with me. But I believe strongly in objectivity, because from objectivity, we wait for the facts, we listen to all sides, and we figure out where to land. So that's what's so important right now. We need objectivity from our politicians to our citizens on the street. Talk to me. I'm a human being. I'm an open book. I want to communicate with you.
Dion, we reached out to LeBron James' management team, did not hear back. Have you heard back?
No, and once again, if I don't hear back from him, like I said, he's purple and gold. I love what he does for our children. I'm a big fan. My son my son idolizes him.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. But either way, I have nothing but love for the man, and I will not lose any love. But hopefully this will inspire dialogue between communities and police officers.
And we want to tell people that Dion is speaking to us on his own behalf, not on behalf of any particular police agency. We know you work for the LAPD, but you are not speaking for the LAPD. So thank you very much, sir.
And thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
We appreciate you, Officer Joseph, for being with us. And for more, you can go to officerdeonjoseph.org. You can follow him on social media. We'll be right back.